Maya woke up every morning long before the sun touched the rooftops of her small apartment building in a quiet town of the United States. She would pull herself out of bed tired from the night before, but determined to continue the routine that had shaped her entire life. She never had much and life had never been gentle to her. But she held on because she had 2 children to feed and raise, and she believed they deserved everything she never had. She would stand in the dim kitchen with only the soft hum of the refrigerator filling the silence. She prepared breakfast in the dark, not wanting to wake her children, because she wanted them to rest as long as they could. They were too young to carry the weight she carried, and she wanted them to feel safe, loved, and cared for even if she herself was exhausted and overwhelmed. By the time the clock reached 5 in the morning, Maya was already dressed in her faded uniform, ready to leave for her first job. She worked as a cleaner at a local diner, scrubbing floors, wiping tables, and taking out trash before the customers arrived. No one ever saw her work completed before sunrise. No one knew her name. Yet the diner looked spotless every morning because of her. She walked every day because she could not afford a car. She walked in winter cold, in summer heat, and in the rain with an umbrella that barely worked. But she walked with purpose because she had no other option, and she refused to give up. Her feet often hurt, her back often ached, and sometimes she felt dizzy from lack of rest. But she kept going because giving up meant her children would suffer. At 9, she would finish her first shift and walk to her second job at a grocery store, stocking shelves and organizing products. She lifted heavy boxes, even when her arms trembled, even when her fingers were numb, even when she felt her knees wanting to give out. She became so good at her job that the manager often relied on her more than anyone else. But still, she remained invisible to most people passing her in the aisles. During lunch break, Maya would sit alone behind the store near the loading area, eating a simple meal she packed from home. Sometimes it was only bread and fruit. But she never complained. She always told herself that as long as her children were eating well, she could endure anything. She thought of them every moment of the day, and that thought gave her strength far beyond her tired muscles. At 3 in the afternoon, she would finish her second shift and go home for a brief moment to check on the children. She always entered quietly, hoping they had done their homework. She hugged them tightly even when she was drenched in sweat. She felt alive when they smiled, because in those small smiles she found the courage to keep moving forward. But she could not rest yet because she had her third job in the evening. She worked as a helper at a local elderly care center. She spent her nights helping older patients walk, eat, bathe, and feel less lonely. She held their hands when they cried. She listened to their stories, even when she was too tired to stay awake. She treated every person there with kindness, because she knew what loneliness felt like. Late at night, when she returned home, everyone was asleep. She would quietly change clothes, check on her children, and stand by their beds for a few minutes, watching their peaceful faces. Those were her favorite moments of the entire day. She whispered in her heart that she would never let them down. She would protect them for as long as she lived. Her routine continued for years: 3 jobs, 7 days a week, hardly any sleep, no vacations, no celebrations. But she endured it all because she had a dream. She dreamed that her children would grow up and escape the cycle of struggle that she had lived through. She wanted them to study, to live freely, to have choices she never had. People around her never knew her story. The neighbors saw her, but never truly noticed her. The customers she served rarely acknowledged her. The world walked past her without realizing how much strength stood within her small, tired body. She was a silent hero, a woman who carried mountains without expecting applause. One winter, her daughter came home with a school assignment in which she had to write about her hero. She wrote a long essay about her mother, describing how she worked every day, how she never complained, how she never rested, and how she always put her children first. She wrote that her mother was the strongest woman she had ever known. The teacher was moved to tears when she read it. When Maya saw the paper, she cried for the first time in many years, because it was the first time she realized someone truly saw her, not as a worker, not as someone struggling, but as a hero. Her daughter's words gave her more strength than any rest could give. Years passed, her children worked hard and eventually graduated. One became a nurse, the other became a teacher. They often stood on stage receiving awards while Maya sat quietly in the audience, her eyes full of proud tears. She knew every step they took was built on the sacrifices she had made. She knew every success they achieved was connected to every early morning, every tired night, every silent struggle. Eventually, her children saved enough money to give her what she always deserved. They bought her a small house with a garden, her very first home. She had never owned anything before, but now she had a home filled with peace, sunlight, and love. Her children told her she no longer needed to work multiple jobs. They told her she deserved rest after a lifetime of hardship. Maya spent her later years gardening, laughing, and watching her children grow into responsible, kind adults. She often thought back on her journey and realized that she had never been weak. Despite everything she had endured, she had remained strong, powerful, and courageous. She was the kind of woman the world rarely noticed, but she was the kind of woman who kept families alive, held communities together, and inspired the next generation without even realizing it. Though her life had been full of hardship, Maya never regretted a single sacrifice. She knew she had given her children the chance she never had. She knew she had turned her pain into strength and her strength into a better future for her family. She was living proof that courage does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers in the exhausted steps of a woman who refuses to give up. And though history books may never mention her name, the world is filled with millions of women like Maya, hardworking, resilient, courageous women who wake before dawn, work long hours in silence, and carry their families on their shoulders. Their stories deserve to be told, their lives deserve to be honored, their courage deserves to be remembered. Maya would sometimes sit on the small wooden chair in her garden, watching the gentle wind move through the flowers she had planted. She felt peace for the first time in her life. She finally had mornings where she did not need to wake before the sun, and nights where she did not collapse from exhaustion. She could breathe freely and smile without worry. Her children visited her often, always bringing food, stories, laughter, and warmth. They never forgot the days she struggled to raise them alone. They never forgot the sacrifices she made for their future. They reminded her again and again that everything they achieved was because of her courage, her strength, and her persistence. Maya would smile quietly because she had never seen herself as extraordinary. She had only done what a mother does, give everything she has for her children. One evening, her son sat beside her on the porch and told her he had received a promotion at his workplace. He said he was nervous because it meant more responsibility, but then he laughed and said he had learned from the strongest woman. He knew how to face challenges and never quit. Maya felt her heart fill with pride because she realized that her children had inherited her strength, not her struggles. Her daughter, who had become a nurse, would sit with Maya and tell her stories of patience she helped. She said she always tried to treat people with kindness because she remembered how her mother treated everyone with love and respect, even when she herself was tired. Maya listened with joy, knowing her daughter had grown into a compassionate woman who carried her values forward. As the years passed, people in the neighborhood grew to know Maya not as the tired woman walking to work in the dark, but as the mother of two successful and kind adults. They admired her without knowing the full story, but they could sense she was someone who had endured much and yet remained gentle and humble. One summer afternoon, the local community center invited Maya to speak at an event celebrating hardworking women in the town. At first, she refused, saying she was not special, but her children encouraged her. They told her that other women needed to hear her story because many were going through similar struggles and needed hope. After some convincing, she agreed. On the day of the event, Maya stood on the stage facing a room filled with women of all ages. She felt nervous, but then she saw her children smiling from the front row, and she found her courage. She spoke slowly, telling them about her 3 jobs, the long nights, the painful mornings, and the moments she wanted to give up. She told them that she endured only because she loved her children more than she loved her own comfort. She told them that life may be full of difficulties, but a strong heart can turn suffering into strength. Many women in the room wiped their tears as she spoke because they felt seen, understood, and valued. Some of them approached her afterward, hugging her and thanking her for giving them hope. Maya realized then that her story was not just her own, it was the story of countless women who fight silently every day for their families, for their dignity, and for a better future. From that day on, Maya became a gentle source of inspiration in her community. She did not seek attention or praise, but women would visit her to share their struggles and ask for guidance. She listened to each one with patience and kindness, offering advice and comfort. She felt her life had come full circle. She had spent so many years carrying burdens alone, and now she was helping others carry theirs. In her final years, Maya looked back on her life with peace. She knew she had lived a life filled with hardship, but also filled with purpose. She had raised 2 good children. She had touched the hearts of many people, and she had proven that true strength is not loud or dramatic, but quiet, steady, and full of love. When her last day came, she passed away peacefully in her sleep with her children holding her hands. Her home was filled with flowers from people whose lives she had touched. Her children promised to continue her legacy by living with compassion, working hard, and helping others just as she had taught them. And though Maya left the world, her story lived on, told by her children, by the women she inspired, and by the community that loved her. She became a symbol of silent heroism, a reminder that greatness is often found in the ordinary lives of women who rise every day despite exhaustion, fear, and struggle, and who give everything for the people they love. Her story lived on in every mother who wakes before dawn, in every woman who sacrifices her dreams so her children can chase theirs, in every unseen hardworking woman who carries hope through her pain. Maya showed that even the quietest life can echo across generations. And so her story ends not with sadness but with gratitude. Gratitude for her sacrifice, gratitude for her courage, and gratitude for the millions of women like her whose strength keeps families and communities alive. Maya proved that love is the greatest form of bravery, and that even in silence a woman can change the world.